You know, it's crazy that on, I'd say 1 out of every 5 corners now in Manhattan, at least, you're seeing still COVID testing booths, and they're free. Yeah. How are these people making money? I don't understand.
I'm sure the government is paying for something. I'm sure they're getting some sort of funding. I mean, it seems like it's like a no-show job, like in Sopranos, how they used to have all like the, oh, we'll pay you, just fucking don't show up. You know?
No, what was that like?
Well, in Sopranos, it's all like like they did construction, and all their jobs were like, you don't, it's just they'd be sitting in these like lawn chairs at construction sites. And that's what that feels like. It's like they're not actually doing something, but somebody's getting paid. Somebody's making money off of it somehow because, you know, who's still getting tested for COVID? That's what I don't understand. People that are like, oh, I got COVID. It's like, why are you getting tested for COVID?
Unless you actually feel like shit, I don't really understand the point of doing it. Just because, like, it will jam up your entire week. Potentially 10 days to 2 weeks, you know?
Yeah. It's like, who gives a shit?
So, Chris, the first time you and I met was at Grizzly Pear, man, killing it over there. And I see you're there a lot during the week, right?
I live there, dude. I am there way too often. And everybody tells me I should branch out and try new things. And I have not. Since I moved to New York, that's the only place.
Dude, you were at the Ted Jones Comedy Show the other week and you killed, bro. That was amazing.
That was as far as I'll branch out, and then I immediately retreated back to Grizzly Pear. I was like, this feels weird. I need to get back to my home.
You're a kombucha guy? I didn't know it came in slim cans like that.
Dude, I've been drinking a lot of the other kombuchas, but this one has a lot of them have too much sugar in them, so I try to avoid sugar. And I got this. If you want some of that, that's a nice little. Whole Foods has a lot of like weird healthy stuff, and I'm big into the. If you tell me something's healthy, I'm putting it in.
Well, you know, I'm vegan, man. I
really?
You know that? Yes, I am vegan. So I'd say I am pretty healthy. I'm vegan and an intermittent faster. So like right now, some of the best shape I've been in the last 3 months. Really? I had an insane phase over COVID where I moved back out to my dad's house in Long Island. I lived there for 3 months straight. And no joke, like every single day, I'd say 8 out of 9 days, I was working out for 1 hour and 15 to 1 hour and 30 minutes and then running for 30 minutes.
Wow.
And just never eating, bro. Wow. And like, that's the best way to get in shape. Just never eat.
That's the thing. That's what people don't understand. It's like, oh, you got to eat all this stuff. It's like, if you just don't eat, or a lot of times I'm very broke and I'm like, I don't like eating. If you just get yourself very broke, that might be the best diet to have, because then you're forced to like weigh every meal, and you're like, I don't need to eat right now, and you realize how little you really need to eat. I feel like we're encouraging anorexia.
Yeah, dude, we are. After your meal, throw up. I'll have for lunch, I'll have chickpeas and beans with hot sauce. It's like a $3 lunch, and I'll eat that, or I was eating it probably like 4 or 5 times a week back 2 years ago. Yeah. But now I'll do it like once or twice a week, just like a quick lunch. It's $3. I can eat it while looking at my computer.
Right.
And it's easy. It's quick. So let's talk about Miami, dude. You're very tan. I'm pretty tan too, but you are noticeably tan. I think your blue eyes pierce through your skin, bro.
Thank you, dude.
No homo, but you look good. You look good. Nice sweats. Yeah, dude, I'm Dion.
It would be like only that. I actually went to, when I was in Miami, I went to a nude beach. My girlfriend I went with my girlfriend.
In Miami, they have one?
In Miami, yeah. But I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to go, because it's like she wanted to be naked. I'm like, I'm not going to be naked. And I also don't feel like it's a fair exchange unless I see other like smoking hot girls there. Otherwise, I'm bringing my girlfriend for everybody to see naked, and then I'm not getting anything back. And it was exactly that. It was just dudes, old dudes with their dicks out, and then my girlfriend with her tits out. I'm like, this is not fair.
I feel like that's a breach also of a nude beach. Like, you shouldn't be looking at people if you're going to a nude beach. Like, you should just be doing your thing, trying to get places tan where you otherwise wouldn't get a tan. That's what she said.
She's like, I'm not here for like other people to look at me. Well, and I'm like, well, that's how it ended up. That's exactly what I'm doing. Right. And all I'm seeing is dicks this whole time. There was dudes like, a lot of gay couples, and they were like fucking, like pretty much fucking in the water. And I was like, this is not.
What part of Miami is that?
It was
like a small portion of a big beach.
Yeah, it was some beach. I don't know if you just Google like nude beaches. There's a few of them, and we found the winner. And then she got her phone stolen while we were there too, just to top it all off. But then we found it somehow. So we go down to the water. We come back. Only her phone is taken. I have like a shitty old iPhone, so I was like,
you went in the ocean and you got your phone stolen?
Yeah.
I feel like people always talk about that. I had no idea that actually happened.
Me neither, because I was like, who's going to do it? Especially at a nude beach, and it's all like friendly gay.
Yeah.
Friendly gays.
Okay.
You don't seem like the type that would take a phone. But it got stolen. We think it got stolen, but then somehow it got returned to the security at the beach. So we didn't have it for like a day, and then we kept like doing the Find My Phone, and we found out that it was at the beach. We go there to the exact location that it said, and it was just in a security booth. We're
did it ever move from the security booth, or when you were looking at on my iPhone, it was there the whole time?
It was dead for a while, and then it somehow got turned on in the security booth. Yeah, so it was very strange.
So maybe it was dead, and then it got turned over to the security booth, and then was charged up there.
I guess maybe,
or somebody tried to jailbreak it and then couldn't get through.
But I don't know who steals a phone and then is like, I feel bad about it. It's like if you're stealing an iPhone, you're stealing it, and you're not being a good Samaritan at the same time. You're stealing it, and even if you don't want to keep it, you're just fucking throwing it somewhere.
Who's stealing an iPhone these days, though? I feel like almost everybody has access to a phone, whether it's an Android or Metro PCS or anything, an iPhone. You know what I mean?
I have Metro PCS.
You do?
Not to brag, yeah.
How does that work? It's on an iPhone?
It works like a regular phone. Yeah, it's just service sucks all the time. But it's like $30 a month.
I didn't mean to be a dick. I was just like, I don't know, Metro PCS.
How does that work?
I used to use T-Mobile. We had the little flip phone.
Yeah, we all go through tough times.
Yeah, man.
I'm in my Metro PCS phase.
Where are you from initially? I will say, bro, that you truthfully are one of the best joke writers I have had the privilege of watching live, man. So props to you.
Thank you, dude. Yes, I appreciate that. It hasn't translated to any success, but I appreciate that.
Well, keep doing that, man, because I think that the ability that you have to write jokes is phenomenal.
Thanks. Yeah, I started as a just like a one-liner guy, and I've just never branched out. People are like, oh, you should turn that into a bit and stuff like that. And I'm just, now my brain is just so one-linery that I can't even think in bits. I'd like to do bits because it would get me more time and stuff like that. But it's like, now my brain is just hack one-liners. And now it's like, luckily in New York, you're only doing 8-10 minute spots anyway. But yeah, if you asked me to do like a 45-minute spot, I would have no idea.
How comfortable are you on stage right now in terms of time? If someone was like, all right, Chris, go do as much time as you are comfortable.
I've done like 20. I've done 25 before, and that was kind of whatever. It was pretty good. But the crowd has to be hot and shit like that. But it's like remembering jokes is tough once you start doing a bunch. That's why
I bet
like Stephen Wright and guys like that are really impressive, because it's like remembering all those jokes that aren't related to each other, but somehow you got to stack them in.
Because there's not really so much of a transition between one joke and the next joke. Maybe on some of them there are, but not on all of them.
Right. But yeah, I guess there's some benefit to it too, because it's like if a joke doesn't work, it's like, all right, that was 10 seconds out. Whereas if you have a bit that doesn't work, that's a long time to sit in something that's not working, you know? And I think that was my original thing why I started doing one-liners, because I was so scared not to get a laugh that I was like, I just got to get to the next thing. So I would bail on things like so fast. Like I think I've tried to do bits before, and I'm just like, no, fuck that.
Where'd you grow up?
Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, right next to Worcester.
Okay, so did you start doing comedy in Boston, or did you move to New York after college? How did your life look from growing up in Boston, close to Boston, and then to now?
It's funny because you don't really go to Boston. Like I went to Boston on a couple like field trips, but we were probably like an hour from Boston. I never really went to Boston until I was like out of college. Maybe I went like a couple times before that, but then I moved to Boston when I got out of college.
Where'd you go to college?
Westfield State University. It's out in Springfield. I don't know if you know anything about Massachusetts, but it's like near the
I went to UConn, so I've spent a few times playing on the tennis team and then going up to places in Massachusetts, so I'm familiar a little bit.
Yeah, I played basketball and soccer at Westfield State.
Oh, wow. So Bo Jackson here,
dude. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, so those were my sports. I was more into basketball. I was probably better at soccer, but I just was a big Michael Jordan guy growing up, so I was like, I'm gonna be in the NBA.
You're gonna be Michael Jordan.
And nice. I probably thought that until like I graduated college. I was like, oh, this probably isn't gonna work. I'm getting 10 minutes a game at a Division III college. Probably not. It's probably not happening. But yeah, that was my shit. Hoops growing up, and then moved to Boston. Had a girlfriend from college, and we lived together for a long time. And then I started comedy maybe at like 30, like late 20s, early 30s was when I first did it, and I kind of was just so scared to do it. I was very nervous. I took a class. And at the end of the class, you do like a presentation, and that went well. And then they're like, okay, now go do open mics. And I still was like, no, I'm not gonna. So I took I repeated the class basically. And they're like, what are you doing back here? I was like, oh, I just want to
sharpen
do
your
it
skills.
again. But really, I was just too terrified
Damn.
to even do an open mic. And
that,
then,
I mean, that happens to all of us. It's just interesting to hear how long it happens to some of us for. Like, you hit your first open mic, then don't hit your second one until 6 months later.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then finally, I was like, okay, I can't just keep spending money on classes and avoiding it. And then I did some open mics. And yeah, they were bad for a while. Like everybody's, they were bad. But I mean, yeah, did that for a while, and then moved here 2 years ago, like during the pandemic, and was doing all the outdoor mics and shit like that here.
What was your thought process in moving from Boston to New York though during the pandemic?
It was kind of just like do whatever, like get out of. I knew I needed to make a move. I moved to Nashville during the pandemic. I was out there because they were open, so I was just out there partying, shit, doing whatever, and then I moved back to Boston, and I was like, I can't come back here, so I just moved. I had a bunch of people from Boston are already out in New York anyway, so I had a buddy that already had a place here, and he's like, yeah, I got an open room.
Was he doing comedy or no?
He was a comic, but he had quit. He's my roommate still now, and he is a dating coach. He works with the top dating coach. I don't know if you know Todd V. He's very popular on YouTube,
I've never heard of him,
but
that's amazing. So what is it? What does a dating coach do? I mean, just gives people advice on how to talk to women, slide in their DMs?
He does it all. This guy's a master. He knows so much about everything. So my roommate started as like his film guy. So they would go out filming. He does these boot camps. So he has people come out for the weekend. They pay like good money. They pay like $3,000 for the weekend. And he takes them to bars and just has them approach women the whole time.
Oh, let's go.
He'll do it with them.
Build the courage, build the confidence.
He'll do it with them. He'll just tell them to do it, and then they go out during the day. They'll go to like Bryant Park, or they'll go to Washington Square Park. If you ever walk by Washington Square Park, now there's a bunch of coaches that do it, and you'll see people approaching girls in Washington Square Park.
That's crazy, man. Because the only time I get courage like that is when I have my vlog camera behind me and like have a microphone. But besides that, I don't think I would ever approach a girl like that.
Yeah, that's where I met my girlfriend now, in Washington Square Park.
Through a dating coach?
Not through a dating coach, but me and my roommate were big into this guy. Like, we would watch his videos all the time. We would go out and we would hit the parks and stuff. So we basically were doing that without him there. So we did that a lot in Boston.
Wow.
So that's why when I kind of moved here, that was kind of our connection, was like comedy, yeah, but mostly it was like going out and approaching chicks. And for a while, I needed him to be there with me. He needed me to be there with him. But then after a while, it was just like, okay, you can do it.
And that also probably helped your comedy game too, just being more comfortable improving on stage.
I guess I don't really improv for shit, but yeah, it definitely helps with courage. Like I've taken a couple comics out that are like really strong comics, crowd work comics that are just so confident, and I've taken them out to be like, yeah, talk to this. They've wanted to. They're like, I would love to be able to do it. And a lot of them can't do it.
Oh,
like,
man,
a lot of the ballsy comics
it's a completely different exercise when you're out there having to talk to random people. This is sometimes how I feel like when I do the vlog, the Ted Jones vlog. Like, I'll just have the largest pit in my stomach, but then once I talk to 2 or 3 people, I'm on a groove and I keep moving forward.
Because it seems so unnatural when you do it at first. You're like, nobody would do it. You're like, you see a girl walking on the street, you're like, I can't go up to this girl and stop her and say hi. Like, it's going to be embarrassing. But then you do a few, you go out and like make a day of it, and it becomes fun. And you're like, yeah, you don't care if she's like, no, like, I'm not. The worst that happens is a girl being like, okay, thanks, bye. But most of them, I mean, not most, like a good amount of them are like, hey, thanks. What's going on? And that's how I met. That's how I've dated in the city. I've never used the apps or anything like that.
Wow. What's the first thing you said to your girlfriend, if you remember?
Probably said, I think she was sitting there in Washington Square Park. Excuse me. And I ate too many of those fucking cashews. And I think I just said she looked cute. I liked her style or something like that. She's Colombian. So I was in like a Latina phase, I think, when I met her. And I guess I still am. Yeah. And yeah, just said she looked cute, and talked to her, got her number. And then nothing really happened for like, we went on one date. Nothing really happened. Went on another date. Nothing really happened. So this was like a 6-month thing, and then eventually she was just like, all right, let's hang out more. Started hanging out more. And then,
so were you guys friends first, or
no? It was always very clear. It was always very clear what my intentions were. You know, it was never like, oh, let's be buddy. But it was just like, she had stuff going on, I had stuff going on, so it was never. I mean, mostly she had stuff going on. I was like, ready to hang out. I thought she was really hot, and I was like, yeah, let's hang out.
For the guys listening, what would you say is a good opening line to maybe do this in Washington Square Park? Anyone listening being like, oh, you know what, I should try that.
Especially for a beginner, it's really just like, hey, I thought you looked cute, or hey, I really liked your style. One of the things that they kind of teach in this program is to be direct. Like you can go up and be like, hey, do you have to, like, really beginners, like, ask directions to somebody. So find a girl you find attractive and ask her for directions.
Which is the funniest thing now, because everybody has Google Maps, or maybe like my phone died. What are the directions to here? Yeah.
Or you could be like a coffee shop. You look like you're from here. What's a good coffee shop around here? But
that's a great line, dude. I'm writing that down in my brain right now.
But it's really not what you say. It's the confidence, and then it's the ability to, like, stick in it after a while. So you could go up and be like, hey, nice shoes. And the girl will be like, thanks. And then you just keep walking. But if you go up and be like, hey, I really liked your style. I wanted to come say hi. I'm so-and-so.
Oh, dude, that's making me cringe, man. Like, I'm thinking about how uncomfortable I'd feel doing that.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable. And I haven't done it in a long time. So now thinking about it, it's, like, uncomfortable. But once you get back into it and you just go out and do it, like, I've kind of gone out with, so my roommate now, he goes on these, he's gone to Madrid. He was in Madrid recently. He was in London recently. So they do these boot camps all over the world. And they have guys come in and they go and teach them, and they'll do them in Washington Square Park every once in a while. And I went not too long ago just to meet this guy, because I was always been like a big fan of this guy, and kind of watched how he did it. And I was like, oh yeah, this does seem kind of crazy to do this again. But it's like these kids that come into the boot camp are very inexperienced, and a lot of times they're like 30-year-old virgins and shit like that, like very beginner. And they'll come in, and by the end of the boot camp, we'll have them like going up to girls, talking to them.
That's amazing.
Because it's just like you throw them into it, and these kids are paying good money, so they're not going to be like, no, I'm not going to do it. It's like, no, you have to do it. You don't have a choice. So it helps to have somebody there to help, and it helps. Like when it doesn't go well, you come back to your friends, you just be like, what can you do?
Do you drink at all? Alcohol?
I do drink occasionally. In Miami, I drank a lot because I was on vacation, I guess. So there was like, I like happy hours. We don't have those in Boston. And happy hour is when you don't have them, it's like you almost feel obligated. Like you walk by a place and they're like $2 beer. It's like, well, I wasn't planning on drinking right now, but now I have to.
I feel like it would be so much easier it is so much easier, like, once you have a few drinks in you, to start talking to girls, because that's really when guys are like, okay, I could do this. In a crowded bar, they're 4 drinks deep, maybe they're with some of their bros, and they're like, all right, time to look for ladies, boys. Yeah. But besides that, I mean, it just sounds so difficult to, I don't know, go to this boot camp. But once you put the money on the line, you got to feel kind of obligated in your head to do it.
You got to do it. And I feel better without drinking, because it's almost like comedy. Like, you want to be sharp. You don't want to be, and you get the rush from talking to the girl. So if you're going to go out and do a bunch of approaches at night, you don't want to be like, oh, I need a drink every time. It would be like doing comedy. Like every comic that goes up, you're like, oh, I got to get another drink. Got to get another drink. It's like, no, you want to be sharp. You want to be ready. And by the end, the courage that alcohol would give you to go up to a girl, you don't really need that after you do a few. It's like you said with the vlog. Once you do a few, it's like, okay, I don't need the alcohol now. Now I need to be like sharp. If there is a girl that I have a good interaction with, like, you want to be on the top of your game. You don't want to be like all fucking sloppy and shit, you know?
I love that, man. You spend any time smoking growing up in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I smoked a little bit. All right, probably more in like high school and shit than ever. Like now I don't smoke at all.
When did it become legal up there? Pretty recently?
Yeah, fairly recently. I was definitely out of like college and stuff when it got legalized. I think maybe like 2014 or something, around then. I'm not positive, but I was a weed smoker in like high school, I guess, when like it was badass to smoke weed. I would want to, but I never really knew why it didn't help me at all. Like I wasn't like really that into it. I think I was just doing it to like be cool or whatever, fit in.
You grew up in a small town?
Yeah, Shrewsbury is a pretty small town. It's probably like middle class, whatever that means. Just like a suburb, nice area. But I mean, it's not that small. Like we have a couple high schools. We have Shrewsbury High School, where I went to, and then we have an all boys high school, St. John's, and that's like always the powerhouse sports team. So we would always get spanked by that. Like it was a big rivalry for us to play them, but for them it was like, yeah, you guys.
Were there any professional athletes who went there? You like squared up again, like in basketball.
There's a kid on the Packers right now, I think.
Wow.
That went there. His dad was on the remember that crazy play? I think it was it was like Stanford Cal where the band was out on the field.
Yes,
and they
dude.
do all the laterals.
The band is on the field. The band is on the field.
Yeah,
was it
somehow
Stanford Cal? Something like that.
It was definitely Cal.
It was definitely
I don't know who
Cal.
the other team was, but either way, his dad was one of the guys that like lateraled in that. I think so. Somehow I know that, but that kid went to St. John's, and then now he's on the Packers, I think, and he made a big catch recent, like a Hail Mary that Aaron Rodgers threw recently. He caught it. But yeah, other than that, I don't know if there's a lot of. There should be more professional athletes.
Well, growing up in Massachusetts, do you like all the Boston sports teams, or do you like look to New York sports teams?
No, I was always a big. I was a big Chicago. I was a big Michael Jordan guy forever. I was never really a Celtics fan growing up because they kind of sucked. Like after Larry Bird was before my time, I never really saw him. But yeah, I guess it was like D Brown and like those guys when I was growing up, and I was like, yeah, fuck that.
They had the big three though, no?
That was later on. So during college, they had the big three, and that's when I was big. You had to be a big Celtics.
That was
fan,
probably
right?
What, like 12 years ago? Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. And then they had Rajon Rondo, but I don't think he was like considered one of the top players.
Great, yeah, but he was good. And yeah, that team was awesome. And I remember watching them in college. So it must have been like 2008, 2009, maybe 2008, 2009, 2010, maybe.
You still play basketball in Astoria at all?
My roommate likes to play a lot, but I haven't played much. I played in a couple men's leagues back in Boston, but I haven't played a ton lately because I don't know. It's like when you lose it and you start to suck, you're like, oh, like you're playing against people that suck, but you're no better than them. And I'm like, oh, this is not. It's almost like sad for me to be like, oh, I suck as bad as this guy who's fucking terrible.
But you used to love it.
I used to love it. I think if I got back into it and was playing consistently, I would love it again. But it's like I think I get too competitive. Like I remember playing in men's leagues and like there's times I would be like yelling at the ref. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm playing in a fucking men's league, and I'm just getting so heated about shit. So it's like
people love the communal competitive sports though in New York, and then also you're seeing some sports leagues that have it's like co-ed, like co-ed flag football and stuff, which is great to see. I don't know how it would really work in a basketball field. I'm not saying that like women are not as good as men at basketball, but like I don't know, potentially maybe some of the men would be better than the women playing.
Yeah, I think basketball is a tough one. I think you would really get
like
exposed.
Soccer. You can kind of do it.
I played in a soccer co-ed league with my girlfriend who played in college. She played soccer at the same college I played.
Oh, that's fun.
I played at, so she was good. But even that one, it was like it was competitive. So it would be like again times where she'd be like, "You are way too competitive in this. You need to like fucking chill out." I remember one time she got decked by some dude. And she was like, "Where were you?" And then I just kind of like kept playing.
Where were you?
She's like, "Where were you on that one?" I was like, "I don't know."
You're like, "I was right there, babe. You didn't see me square up."
I was like, "You wanted to play in this fucking co-ed league, so that's a risky take, But yeah, some people like weren't able to tone it down around girls, and that's where it gets a little dicey. But yeah, in basketball, I think it would be it'd be difficult. Soccer you can kind of blend the girls in and shit, but it's like basketball you couldn't.
Are you doing fantasy football this year?
I did it for a few years, but it was just too much of a time suck.
Me too, bro. Like there were just too many other guys in the league who were way more competitive than me, like way more focused. And it's an every week thing. Like you got to pay attention, like at least an hour, 2 hours a week. And for me, I don't think it was worth it, like to compete against guys from my college who were so into it.
I got a buddy that is just listens to all the podcasts, does everything, puts so much time and effort into it. And I'm ever like, if I ever have money to invest, I would just, because he loves it, he'll do as many leagues as he can. I would just pay for him to enter a league and then like split the money with him because he's so fucking dedicated to it that I'm like, this would be my best chances. But otherwise, it's like playing poker and not knowing how to play poker. It's like why not give it to the pros and let them figure it out.
That's the kind of how I feel about all fantasy sports. Like baseball, basketball, and football. I guess those are like the three sports, but I don't really bet much. Are you better?
No, not at all. No, I did for a little while, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think once I got into like comedy and doing other shit, I was like, I don't want to do that.
How many spots a week are you doing now?
I'll do the pair maybe every night. So I don't know, at least 7 or 8 spots, a couple times Friday. But the Fridays and Saturdays are really good there. The weekdays are very hit or miss there. So it's like sometimes I'll be performing in front of like 3 people. So I don't know how much, I don't know how much that counts.
Because when I saw you on Saturday, probably 3 weeks ago, there was probably like 70 or 80 in the room, like full packed out room.
That's when it's a lot of fun there. Yeah, it can be a lot of fun. It's rowdy. It's like nobody gives a fuck. Everybody tried to go to the cellar and didn't get in, so they're just like, oh, whatever, we'll just go to this place.
It's right around the corner from the
so
cellar.
Nobody knows what to expect there, and they're just usually they're pleasantly surprised when they leave there. And they're like, oh, that was worth. Like I had a bunch of buddies in town for a bachelor party last weekend, and they came to the show, and I was worried about like charging them $20. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can hook you guys up. I don't know if you want to come. They're like, yeah, we'll come. And after at the end, they're like, dude, you guys should charge more for that show. Like that show was, and I'm like, wow, I've never thought about it.
They don't do a drink minimum also?
They do a 1 drink minimum, but it's like, who's not going to get fucking
especially on a Saturday night at what time your show was?
Yeah,
10
or midnight.
10 or 12.
Yeah, it's like, who's not getting hammered at those times? If you're not, you're at the wrong place. You can tell when you walk in there, you're like, okay, I got to get fucked up.
Yeah, totally. It's one of those vibes. Have you been out of New York City recently to do comedy?
I have not. I don't think I'm trying to think of the last place I did. I did a gig in Connecticut. I like took a train out there and got there, and it was probably a show with like 10 people there, like 10 people in the crowd. And nobody wanted to be there. They were rowdy. There was like a birthday party. There was like a bar. I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't need to do
comedy is so funny, man.
Yeah.
You just never know what you're going to get.
But that's the thing. People are like, oh, you got to branch out trying to spots. I'm like, I'll just stick to this until I get good. It's like the most efficient way to do it because I can get like a couple spots in there a night and like I don't have to travel anywhere and stuff. And I probably should do other places, but we're in the best city for comedy. I don't need to be going to like Connecticut. I haven't been back to Boston since I left. A lot of people like, oh, you should go back there. But
so you haven't seen your parents then?
No, I've been back, but not to do comedy.
Oh, okay. So you've just been back, like visiting them for the weekend or whatever.
Yeah, I left and said, fuck this whole place. Never talked to my parents
again. Beantown, yeah, imagine. That's why I was like, this is intense,
I was
bro.
Like, I'm fucking big time now. And then I just came here. I was like, fuck, I should go back to my parents.
What are your future goals for comedy in doing spots every single night?
Yeah, I probably should have one, but I don't really have one. I guess just keep at it till you get good. I guess I don't really know what the plan is. I probably should have a goal, but I don't really.
Well, thoughts on putting together like a 30-minute YouTube special that you can put out for free?
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
All right. Well, that's a good goal. Yeah, dude.
My buddy Alan. I don't know if you've seen Alan Fitzgerald. He's my buddy from Boston. We came here about at the same time. He does the pair almost every night too, and he's doing a 30-minute special. He's filming it in like Connecticut or something. But yeah, he's kind of the same way. He's got very short jokes. So it took him a while to get there, but he's got the time and stuff to do it, and it's all jokes. But he's very like offensive and shit like that. So we'll see how it goes. He does well, and he does well in New York and things like that. But I don't know if his special how well received his special will be. But maybe that's what people are looking for right now because you can't really get that on any other place, like
on any other platform. Yeah, like YouTube is pretty restrictive, I'd say, on certain issues. Like the other day, I had one of my videos. I got an X. So if you get 3 X's on YouTube, you're kicked off of YouTube. I got an X because I put up one video that was like, I'm addicted to smoking weed. And then I was like, who isn't addicted to smoking weed or something? And then on one of the stickers, there was a crack pipe. But Instagram Reels loved it. Yeah. It's just YouTube Shorts didn't like it, and TikTok. I got an X for both of those, so I have to be careful. But I think it's like kind of crafting what you think is appropriate, what's not, and always just teetering on the border because you never really know.
It's so weird to think that somebody at YouTube saw that, didn't understand that there was any humor in it, or what. I don't know what they would possibly think that's.
I think it was just probably the drug paraphernalia, because that's what they said. They were like addiction, drug paraphernalia, substance abuse, and I was like, I guess. But like, you never really know what platform is going to pop off, because you have a podcast as well.
I had a podcast. We kind of have taken a break. We'll see if it's a permanent break or a whatever, because we were doing it at a studio. And then it was just like too much to keep doing it in a studio. So
was it just the price of the studio each time?
Yeah, it was expensive to do it each time. But this is a sweet fucking
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, we have the apartment and studio here in one. But for the most part, I have everything always just ready to go for the podcast. And we also, guys, 1 second, I gotta redo that. By the way, guys, we have a new camera here. If you guys notice, you see Chris's face a little bit more clearly 30 minutes into the pod. Just told you that. So I'm sure you've noticed by now, man.
They're like, damn, we wish it was a better looking person.
Dude, you're tan. For. Honestly, the eyes are piercing. The teeth are white. You look good. You're good first camera usage. Right. Also, we have tennis balls right under the TV. Guys, the U.S. Open is this week. If you're looking for some fun this weekend, because today is Thursday as we drop this, Chris. If you guys are looking for fun, go check out a day pass. It's probably $100. Bring a date. It's super fun. And I wouldn't start drinking so early, but definitely have some of those honey deuces at the U.S. Open. You ever been to the U.S. Open?
I didn't, but I haven't been, but I'd like to go. Yeah, it sounds like a prime date spot.
You should go with your girl, for sure.
Wait, it's all this week?
So, yeah, it's Monday through Sunday, and then the second week it gets a little bit more expensive. But in terms of like a day pass, you can go and see every single match except for the ones in the main stadium. But like during the first week, the main stadium, it's mostly like blowouts, so you don't really want to sit there unless you're watching Serena Williams or Rafael Nadal, somebody like that. But you go U.S. Open, have lunch there, and you watch like 5 hours of tennis. It's super fun.
Really?
Just such an electric environment.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you've never been.
I would like to go. I think my
being a sports guy.
I know. I think my family has gone, but I think my mom and sister went one year. But yeah, that is. And where is it? It's in
Flushing.
Queens.
So you take the 7 from pretty close to you. I'm not sure exactly how to get there from Astoria, but I'm sure you just take the 7 to Metz Willets Point. Don't take it to Main Street Flushing. I've done that many times, made the confusing mistake. Because it says on the stop, it just says Metz Willets Point. Like they should have some reference to the U.S. Open for the 2 weeks a year that it's there. But like you have no idea that it's the right train station until you get off and you walk down, and then you start to see everybody going towards the tennis center.
Yeah, yeah. And it's all day.
All day, bro. So it starts at 11 and then the day session ends at 7. Damn. So you get there, have lunch, watch tennis. It can be very hot today. It's not that hot at the Open. Can be super hot. But, I mean, for the most part, you have enough. Like, you go into this pro shop, you go in, you get lunch, you have enough cool. There's trees and stuff like that.
Shit to walk around.
Yeah, such a fun event, man.
Dope. I might have to check that out. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen tennis live. I mean, my sister played tennis in high school, but that's probably a different level of tennis.
Yeah, these pros, man, like every shot that they hit is in the center of their racket. Like it's even insane. When they're outreaching like 10 feet out beyond the baseline, they're still hitting the ball at the center of their racket. It's really a beautiful thing to watch. And like watching them warm up, they're so smooth. I
remember going to one of my sister's matches one time, and me and some other little kid, I was probably like 10 years old or whatever, watching. And so one of my buddies was there. He was 10 too, and we're sitting at the along the fence watching. We're like talking shit about one of the girls, like how bad she is. Not thinking she like we weren't like heckling her. We were just like, oh my god, she's so bad and stuff like that. And she heard us and she ratted us out to her coach and was like, they're talking about me over there, and they kicked us out. They're like these little kids. And I was horrified because I was like, did she hear everything? Like we were saying like some, not like ruthless, but like for me at 10 years old, I was like, that was really mean.
Oh my god!
But I didn't, and I was like, I'll never talk shit about anybody again.
At the Open, Open, those tennis players will just look at you and just tell you to shut up.
Yeah,
like that's how intense they'll get. I mean, because they're playing for life-changing amount of money. A lot of these guys, if you're not in the top 100 in the world, like you're barely making ends meet. Like you cost so much money to travel. You're with your coach. Hotels, flights, going to tournaments, losing, maybe being injured. But like for a lot of these players, it's like make or break. And it's this particular time of the year. If you lose in the first round, you make 80K. Lose in the second round, you make 120K.
Really?
So it's a lot of money for a lot of these people.
So you lose and you get 80K just for making it.
Yes.
Making it this far.
In the first round, yeah.
I would take that.
Yeah.
For a day. I could go and lose.
Yeah, for the first round. And then a lot of these guys who are playing in qualifying, that's tough too. I went to the qualifying last week. That's a free event. Next time I go, hopefully you guys at the U.S. Open will give Ted Jones World Media a pass. But next time we're going to bring a vlog camera guy behind me. Because I was doing like the self-vlog, but I want to bring this puppy next time. Something like that.
They don't care that you're in there?
During qualifying, no. They didn't care. It was super lax. I mean, maybe if I brought a big camera like this, they might. But like I was just holding my ZV-1 camera. So it was mostly just me the whole time.
And you do it by yourself?
At that particular time, yeah, I did.
That's ballsy, dude. If you can do that, you can fucking talk to chicks on the street.
Yeah, man. It's just the camera really sets me off in a different mood, man. Like when I have the camera following me behind, like I don't care. I can get swung at on the street. Obviously, I would never want to get swung at, you know, for being inappropriate on the street. But like, I think it's just a different vibe when I'm out there, and I just try and be bubbly enough that the person feels comfortable on camera, which I think is exactly what you got to do in these Washington Square parks. Be bubbly enough that the girls are receptive towards you.
Right. You ever watch Billy on the Street? That's one of my favorite shows.
I haven't watched a full episode really, but I know like the clips, and that's kind of what I've been trying to channel in the Man on the Street.
Dude,
stuff.
He's so fucking funny, but he's so outrageous. Like the stuff he'll say to, he's just like, but because he's like so gay and flamboyant, it's like just so endearing. But yeah, he just gets into it with people, and it's great. So yeah, you just got to be gay out there. I think. That's
dude. I was like, I didn't know he was gay. We just start the episode and finish it on the same friggin' end. So Chris, what else coming up in your life, man, that is exciting for us to follow you on your Instagram, on other platforms, and in real life?
Yeah, I don't know. I just keep at it in comedy. We'll see. I might buy a coffee truck with this guy.
Let's go. Talk about that.
I used to work at a coffee shop with this guy, and it's Paris Oven on 30th Street, and in Astoria. And I was always I always see people with like mobile coffee trucks, and I'm like, we should do one of those. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So I think we might do it. It's still in the works, but I'm pretty sure we're going to do that. But I don't know. That might suck away from comedy time.
But how would that work, though? You'd park at a specific location in Astoria?
Yeah, park it wherever. You can, I mean, you can move it wherever. That'd be something we have to figure out.
Do you have to rent a spot in the city? Are you familiar with the ethics?
I don't know anything about the rules. We're just gonna fucking wing it. But he's got all the coffee. I got all the free time. So
that's the best way to do it. Also, man, like you don't want to have all these costs associated with renting in 1,000 square foot space in Astoria. That's gonna cost you a few $1,000s a month.
Right. Probably try to get some cute chicks to work at it, and then it'll just be. Yeah.
And good coffee. How much are you going to charge that?
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. It's a good question. Do we want to be like a cheap coffee truck, or do we want to be like a bougie coffee truck?
Do you want to be between like the guy on the corner selling for $2.50 and the Starbucks $5, or you want to be a $7 cup?
I don't know. Yeah, because I really like the expensive around. A lot of times I'll just like the expensive coffee just because it's expensive. I'm like, oh, this place is sick.
Yeah, exactly.
And
they flip the tip thing around. You're like, $0. But I enjoyed the experience.
Dude, it's crazy. The tips in Miami, they include on every place you go. They include 20%, and they don't tell you about it.
They don't.
The biggest
it's
scam
crazy. Going. You really have to look at the bill.
And there was a couple times I'd be like, oh, is the tip included? And the guy would be like, oh, that 20% service charge, that gets split up between everything else. The tip is just for me. I was like, no way, dude. You're like, I'm not paying for this fucking place. I was like, bake that into the price of everything, but don't ask me to tip 20. Like, and then they hide it from you. They give you the check real quick. You sign it.
It's already included. It says at the bottom, 20% is already included. Additional. How do you feel about that?
They want you to tip on top of that. It's like, what
do you think that tip should be baked in then?
Bake in like a 15% tip maybe, but also why are you doing that? Like, then I feel like a cheap person, because then I got to do the tip. I'm like, okay, what's 5% now? Because if I want to tip 20%, so it's like, or just make it 18% or something, and then it's like, then you know you're getting, and then I'm like, fuck it, you guys already included it. You fucked yourself out of 2%, but it's tipping is just so stupid.
I don't know if you've really been taking a yellow taxi since you've moved to New York. You ever get into the yellow taxi phase? Yeah, that's always awkward for me because I never know how much to tip. You know, whether it's like $150 on a $10 cab ride, $250, but they do seem to be pretty responsive when you tip really any amount, I think, in a cab. And
they totally shame you too with the flipping over the screen and everybody's behind you. Like, what are you gonna?
Oh, you're talking about the coffee shop?
Yeah, coffee shop. Everywhere.
Yeah, that's crazy. If I'm paying over $4 for a coffee, I'm hitting 0.0, man. And I'm scribbling my signature. Do you really need my signature?
You know Dude, it's so funny in cabs now. They have like this ad that's like, you can order a cab from your phone, pay for it through your phone, and do all this stuff. I'm like, wow, what a brilliant idea. Why has nobody thought of that?
Literally hilarious. Chris Kinback, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Shout out your Instagram really quick. We'll put it up right here.
Chris Kinback on Instagram, and I think I have a TikTok still in TikTok, baby. So
Chris Kinback on TikTok.
You got it.
Beautiful. Chris, thank you so much for coming on Ted Jones World Podcast. Guys, have a lovely Thursday, and we'll see you Monday. Peace.